Because now you're giving the finger, or somebody's giving the finger in like a disappointed sort of a shmeh, not angry, just disappointed, and a big fuck you finger. Hello, this is Weird Corvid, and we're going to be reading the sun print for the waxing moon during Pisces. I usually just jump right into it. The first thing I see right off the bat is sort of almost center a little bit north and a little bit east. There's a line with two squares, rectangles above it. To me, it's looking like a face, like a smiley face, but not smiling. It looks like a disappointed face. And then directly underneath that, there's a long, I'm guessing it was probably a thigh bone. But then at the end of that, it has another little bone or blob or something there. And to me, it kind of looks like an arm, a fist, and a finger. So it looks like this disappointed face is giving the middle finger. The middle finger is pointing either towards the viewer, or towards the east. I'm wondering if that means overthinking and giving yourself the middle finger to the overthinking. But there is a lot of clutter though towards the west and the south, which speaks about a lot more emotions and passions and stuff like that. The north is relatively clear, although right above the eye towards the north, like under the N, it looks like there's an upside down ring, like a classic wedding ring shape. And considering that Valentine's Day was just behind us here, ooh, is there something going on with misconnection? Possibly something didn't go quite right. I put out for funsies. I put out Valentine's Day tarot card reading, and it was just the tarot cards, not traditional tarot cards. They're kind of little risky tarot cards, sort of, just not PG ones. And it did talk about expectations or plans for Valentine's Day or the weekend of not going as you expected, and being a little bit disappointed that they didn't go as you expected, but possibly other things happening that would, like, you'd had to face some sort of reality there. Get rid of the fantasy and face the reality of the situation, and then move forward with it. And they ended with the last placement of becoming accepting of whatever that was, and you're in more of a tranquil, calm space. So there wasn't really a tower moment. It was more just a little bit of shadow work had to be done. It's interesting that this ring comes up here. That doesn't necessarily speak to marriage. It could speak to marriage. I think it just speaks to relationships in general. Were you expecting something more than what was given, or a different form, different expectation? Because now you're giving the finger, or somebody's giving the finger in like a disappointed sort of a shmeh, not angry, just disappointed, and a big fuck you finger. And then the emotional and the passion side, drive side are all cluttered. And the thing is with this clutter, like, I'm seeing something that could either be I've seen things that could either be possible weapons or possible tools. Like something that looks in the west, it looks almost like a fire hydrant, or not a fire hydrant, fire extinguisher. Or it could also look like a little bit like a hand grenade. It's longer, so I'm going to go with fire extinguisher. There's another one that at first started to look almost like a gun, but then I look a little bit closer at it, and it could be, it looks more tool-like. It looks more like maybe a crowbar or like those claw things that pick things up off the ground or break, something along those lines. So there's definitely an energy of a FU energy, but also dealing with it. Are you dealing with it in a way of just like being like blowing everything up, like burning everything down, like screw everything? Are you in that mindset? Or are you in the, okay, this is what we have to deal with. How are we gonna finish it? How are we gonna deal with it? Put out the fire or cause the fire? Fix things or destroy things? Like get rid of things? Which way are you going with it? As I'm looking between the thing that looks like the fire hydrant or the fire extinguisher to me and the claw grabbing tool directly under the arm that's giving the bird, I see this image, and it looks like some sort of a vehicle. It looks sort of like either like a go-kart or a car or a boat, and it has a little person driving it, and it looks like they're going fast. It looks like they're leaning forward. Quite frankly, it looks like Mario from Mario Kart, and he's driving from the east to the west, but going up on a bit of a slant, going upwards a little bit. Looks like he's trying to get away from something or go to something fast. Actually, the face, the disappointed face, flipping the bird, could be flipping the bird to this little Mario Kart character, and this little character's trying to get the out of Dodge. So somebody left you, either physically left you, or left you to deal with the aftermath on your own, and they don't want to have anything to do with whatever it is. They're scared. They don't want to try fixing. They don't want to try burning it down, starting again. They're just wanting to get away from whatever the misconception, negative energy is. Maybe the fact that you're so disappointed and giving the finger is not necessarily that needs were not met or something went to hell, but that the person isn't willing to stick with you and work through it with you. Almost like somebody, like, even if it's not about all that, it almost sort of seems like whatever this person is getting out of Dodge for, they are avoiding responsibility in some way, shape, or accountability in some way, shape, or form, leaving you to clean up whatever mess is left, whether that's your own internal mess to clean up that they're not wanting to talk about things, whether it's some sort of outside event that you're left to clean up. But they are shrugging off their responsibilities and their accountability in whatever situation it is, and you're left with the rest of it. So you're a little miffed about that, and it's sort of up in the air as if you're going to try and fix things and work on things, clean things up, put out the fire, or if you're just going to let it all burn down to the ground. Maybe you're not even starting the fire, you're just going to let it burn. That's on them. You're not going to clean up after them, or whatever the situation is. I think it can be both. I think it can be both. I think depends on who is resonating with this. Anyways, let's see if the cards have anything to say with this. So I'm using the Halloween Oracle deck and the Messenger Oracle deck again. On the east side of the paper, we have the current and possible future influences, and on the west side of the paper we have the past influences, and I am seeing some cards being repeated again. Interesting. The first card on the past influences side of it is an owl, and there was an owl that showed up in the Valentine's reading as well, and the moon showed up a lot too. For that, it was talking about observing things that might be coming to the surface that were hidden. Specifically more about yourself, things that were coming up for yourself that you weren't expecting, and to observe them and work with them, throw in some wisdom, that type of stuff. And this is in the past influence. So maybe this is maybe it is referencing that a little bit. Could be something completely different. And if it is, this is sort of some of the aftermath of that. But also just wise counsel as well. Maybe you need to sit down with either yourself, your higher self, and just sort through some to figure out where your stance is on things, and to learn to accept whatever it is you need to accept, face reality for what it is instead of going with the fantasy. That's what the other thing talked about. Or if it's not this whole Valentine's Day reading at all, it still sort of talks to, let's see, wise seeing and wise action. So you might need to sit down and talk with somebody about it. I think we had another reading recently too that was talking about sitting down and talking to somebody for counsel, or just to like run through, you're having a bit of a throat chakra block, is to go and talk to somebody or talk to your higher self, talk to the other person, talk to an empty room, or just like an imaginary version of the person that you actually need to do like a dry run before you actually do go to talk to them to try and work out that throat chakra block. So this could be going back to that. In which case, if it's going back to that, maybe the conversation ended with them or will end with them kind of skirting their accountability or responsibility that they hold in that. It might not be like, some people are like that though, when they have that put on them in the moment, they need their time to work through it. As long as they come back to it and you're like, okay, can we, after you've had some time to process this idea that I put forth, this topic that I put forth, can we revisit it? Can we talk about it later? And that's fine if they're doing that. But right now, in the print, it really seems like they're just trying to get the hell away from everything. They're in running mode right now. They might turn around and come back, but for right now, they're in running mode. Anyways, let's read the cards, see if there's anything in there that works. Even though we've read these cards before, how many people are listening to these things anyways? So might as well read it again. Should the hooting owl come looking for you this Halloween, it indicates the need for wise counsel or further information before you make a decision. Considered action is warranted. Think before you act emotionally, and ensure you think strategically, not impulsively. So yeah, that kind of goes along with what we were saying. This past influences. So maybe you've already done this, or maybe you're in the process of doing this. But it's always good to cross your eyes and cross your T's and dot your I's, or whatever it is, before you do something, especially if you are having a throat chakra issue and you need to have all the support that you can, all the courage that you can in order to get the ball rolling. So the next card on past influences is the number 5 card from the Messenger Oracle, and it is Challenge Your Perception. And it looks very similar to like your Judgment type of card, Temperance possible type, an angel type of looking with a sword. Colors are very similar to the print, or at least some of them are. The book for this card says, you cannot challenge an outdated perception or one born from lack of understanding if you are unwilling to put aside your feelings and beliefs and embrace another's point of view. To do so makes you aware of the whole and stands you up on high, where you can see both parties involved in a dispute can act against injustice. Both can be right, both can be wrong, and what one may perceive to be harmful may be seen as both healing and beneficial by the other. So yeah, this sounds like something needs to be talked about. Again, reality had to be faced. You had to put down the facade. You had to see the other's point of view, because the truth is, like, when you have one person saying one thing, one person saying the other thing, they can both be right, and the truth of the matter is somewhere in between. Or the truth can be easier to see with both perspectives, and it's somewhere in between them. So you get a more rounded point of view if you consider all sides. Doesn't mean you have to gaslight yourself or disregard your own feelings on this. That's not what this is about. It's just about having a more robust view and understanding where somebody else is coming from, so you can come to some sort of mutual understanding. You can, even if all it is to agree to disagree. So I think that these two were sort of like the build up to whatever whatever it is subject you needed to bring up, and you're hoping for a good outcome, but a clear outcome that addressed what needed to be addressed. This person might decide to take off for a minute, and you're going to get a little bit miffed about it. I don't know if they're going to come back and want to revisit this with you, if they're just going to keep running from you in this topic. So let's see what the current or possible future influence cards are going to have to say about that. And the first one is the Death card from the Halloween Oracle, and it says the internal cycle begins here. I hope it's not an internal cycle of running, but it could be a fresh new start. It's the Death card. It usually, in tarot, this is Oracle, but in tarot, that usually means there's an end to something, but that end brings the beginning of something, which again, the internal cycle, the cycle of it. So maybe you will get some sort of closure and be able to move forward, whether that's burning it down to the ground closure, or if it's fixing and putting out the fire type of closure. This one always, the moth over the mouth, or the legs are almost sort of creating the mouth. It's like the moth is sort of silencing it a bit, and moon in a lot of, in tarot, a lot also means like things that are sort of hidden. The moon was very important in some of the other readings about this hidden idea or situation, or sort of like something that's sort of been skirted under the rug, not been really paid attention to. Definitely is saying throat chakra to me again. Something that needs to be said, and maybe you're in the process of saying it, and in the process of saying it, you're putting it to rest. Let's see what the book has to say. Do not be afraid if you pull the Death card, as it simply means that something is falling away, or will do so. So you can begin strongly afresh. There is a great power in this clearing. If you pull this card at Halloween particularly, the message is stronger still, and you should actively celebrate this new beginning. So yeah, it's definitely putting something to rest. One way or another, something's getting put to rest, and you won't have to speak on it as much anymore. You won't have this urge to, because it's being dealt with one way or another. It might not be dealt with the way you want it to be dealt with, but you're finding some closure here around it. The next card is number 15 from the Messenger Oracle deck, and it is Here the Ancient Ones. This is one of my favorite cards from this deck. It has so much detail in it. What's interesting with this is it's the old woman is in a part of a tree, an older tree, spilling out water, I assume, from her mouth onto a sapling tree, and I think it's an oak tree from the shape of the leaf. And in the Halloween Oracle deck, the one for ancestors is an oak tree as well, with a DNA strand on it, and is a link to ancestors. And this is talking about hearing the ancient ones. So similar sort of vibes, but this one's a little bit more symbolic. So maybe you'll be finding strength in our new, like especially with the new sapling, there are a renewed strength, a renewed sense of self from all this. Maybe you're able to give your own sense of self new life, new energy, new support, without relying on what you thought you were getting from this other person or structure, like social structure. You're able to tap into your own spiritual self, your own resonance, your own ancient self, and give yourself the energy that you need instead of looking for it from an outside source. Maybe this is clearing the way for that. That would be great. The book says, the indigenous peoples of the world are those who have lived in harmony with the land for countless generations. Among them are the elders whose knowledge and wisdom can teach us of our relationships with nature, of living a life of empathetic awareness, and to better understand our role as caretakers of the earth. They can teach us the wisdom of taking only what we need, of wasting little, and of honoring all sacrifice made so that you may live and grow. Hear the wisdom of the ancient ones, learn from their knowledge, lore, and tradition. So maybe this is saying too that you also might want to look into going out to the forest or somewhere natural, into nature, and grounding a little bit. And maybe just like I'm getting more like listening to the trees. I know that sounds really woo-woo, but like taking that moment to center in nature, somewhere in nature, feel your own energy, your own strength, and how it relates to the natural environment around you. The trees, the animals, the birds singing, if there are any, the wind, just the energy of that natural space and how you relate to it, how you fit into it. And use it as almost like a recalibration, as a reset, as a calming, as a finding your center, finding your strength, because you are an internal person. And whatever you've had to let fall away, whatever you are now gaining back and realizing about yourself, none of it chips away at the core of who you are and who you have always been and the energy that you are. It might chip away at the facade. It might chip away at the things that are not meant for you or no longer meant for you. It might chip away at your self-defense mechanism. Those were important at one point, but they might not be as important anymore, especially as you come more into your own and connection with yourself. And you realize that you can handle whatever life throws at you because you are that internal energy, not just the human in this moment. Now, with a human life and all the things that you need to support a human life, you're not just that. You're also this as well. So that means you can handle whatever life throws your way. Doesn't mean it's going to be easy, but it doesn't mean it's not going to hurt. Doesn't mean that you're not going to need your self-defense mechanisms at some point. But at this point in time, when you're grounded, you don't necessarily need all your self-defense mechanisms, and life might chip away at them a bit. You're becoming more you. You're recognizing yourself more, not the self that you thought you were, but like your true core self is hopefully going to be able to shine a little bit better after letting go of whatever this is. You have to say your piece, whatever it might be, and then it seems like you're going to be able to let this go. The parts of it that are no longer serving you, the parts of it that were actually dragging you down, the parts that were ruminating in your mind. You might not need to talk to this person about this anymore, whether or not they come back to work this out with you. I don't know if they are or not. It sounds like, or it looks like, whether or not they come back, and this is sort of up in the air if they're going to come back. It's also up in the air of how you're going to deal with it, whether you're just going to let everything burn to the ground or you're going to try and put out the fire and fix things. Either way works depending on your situation. You know best. And whether or not they come back to help you with either of those things, you got you. You got what you needed out of it, or you will get what you need out of it. It might be a little bit of process. You might have to mourn things. Everybody does when things change. There's a little bit of a mourning process, but you're going to come into your own a little bit more, maybe a lot more. And you're going to get in touch with a part of you that has been around for eons. There's the part of you that is connected to the nature and the universe and all of it. I mean, it's always nice when you get to tap into that every so often. Or it's always nice when you get to incorporate it more into who you are in your everyday life as well. Usually that comes in small increments here and there, and you get to incorporate it more and more as you decide to start questioning your wiring, your upbringing, and all the things that made you capable of surviving in this world, in this human world. Slowly, as you start picking that apart and figuring out which works for you and what doesn't work for you, you start to get in touch more and more with your innate self, your higher self, whatever you want to call it. And you get to be more and more authentic, and you can therefore not have to cater to the things that are not meant to you, or to the people that are not meant for you. And you can then make room for the things that are meant for you and the people that are meant for you. But always, and the boundaries won't seem like so hard once you start becoming more your authentic self, once you start getting more in touch with that and letting the other parts of you that are not serving you anymore drop to the side. Those boundaries will become more natural and more easy. It seems like you had a pretty strong boundary and it was hard to do. The throat chakra got blocked. You addressed it though. You got the power and motivation to address it. Maybe there's some hurt feelings here. There's some little bit of defensiveness going on, but you worked through it. Maybe it wasn't necessarily easy. Maybe it was just a little bit annoying, whatever. However intense or not it was, you now are, or you will hopefully get to the other side where you'll be more grounded and you'll be better for it, wiser for it. Hopefully that is the case. I guess this sort of does play into with the Valentine's Day one and with the previous reading before this, the sun readings before this. If you want, go back and have a look at those. See if they resonate with you or not. If any of this does resonate with you, leave a comment and let me know. I'd love to know. If you're seeing something else in the sun print or the cards, you're resonating with some other story or something, and it's not what I'm saying, I would like to know that as well. I want to know all the different points of view. What do you see in the sun print? Are there any images that you see in the sun print? I would love to know what other people see as well, because you're all going to see something a little bit different. So yeah, it'd be nice to know. And hopefully you are going to be discovering a little bit more of yourself, and it's, in the end, going to work out good. Anyways, talk to you again for the next phase of the moon and the sun print for that.